just want you. Just want you.
Shalom world! I decided to do a little spin on the classic caramel apples. Some people say candy apples. They're caramel apples to me. Maybe there's a difference. Honestly don't know or care. It tastes all amazing. So since it's actually pretty easy to make, I'm gonna go ahead and just get started and show you guys how to do it yourselves. You first want to clean your apples. And to do this, you're going to get a clean sponge that's never been used. And it has to be one of the sponges that has a rough side. As you can see, it's the green side on this one. Because apples have a wax coating, and you want to get that off. And the best way to get it off is with one of these type of sponges. It will help the caramel stick better to the apple. And you're going to spend a little bit of time doing this, and you will feel a difference between the apple beforehand and the apple afterwards. It'll just feel a little bit rougher. After that, you want to completely dry your apple. You don't want any water droplets on this. So I just kind of rubbed it around with a paper towel, and then I let it sit to air dry whatever I missed. After the apples are dry, you are going to take the core out. I used a really sharp knife, and go slow because some of this I sped a little bit through and I cut my finger just a little bit. They sell like tools for this step here, but I don't have that tool and I don't eat apples enough to invest in the tool. And on that first apple I forgot to do it, but on this one I'm going to do the top, and you want to do the bottom part of the apple as well. After that's over, just take a wooden stick and stick it down into the apple. You might have to wiggle it around a little bit, but they go in fairly easy. To prepare for the caramel apples, I'm going to take wax paper and just tape it on the sides of a cookie sheet and kind of smooth it out and fit it a little bit better. Now you can home make your caramel, but I just bought these caramel bits from the store, and I'm actually just going to go off the recipe on the back there on how to properly melt these in the microwave. This part can be a little bit tricky and messy, so take your time and try not to get too frustrated with it. I still haven't perfected it myself, but it really is still going to taste good no matter what at the end. And keep in mind that you are going to cover this caramel completely. So what I did was I took a spoonful of caramel and dripped it from the top of the apple and let it slide down on the sides. Some parts I missed, so I just kind of took my spoon and rubbed it along the sides there. And to reach the bottom, I just dipped it down in there and pulled it right back up. The toppings I'm going to use are chocolate-covered pretzels, Oreos, Reese's Pieces Bites, Kit Kats, and mini M&Ms. And these were roughly about good enough for one apple. Now when you start to put the toppings on, make sure your hands are clean because you may need to use them. I know I needed to for sure when pressing on some Reese's Pieces Bites. But I'm going to show you the pieces and the M&M bites first because those are the easiest. I just kind of dipped on there what I could and rolled it around, but some of it I'd use my hands to individually stick some on there because I waited a little bit between when I put the caramel on versus when I started to put the toppings on. So keep that in mind. So I'm just going to be doing the same technique that I am doing for these first two apples as you will see in the later ones, which is just patting it on there and rolling it around. And this one tube was good for this one apple. So if you wanted to make, say, a whole batch of M&M covered caramel apples, you're going to need a lot of M&Ms, so I suggest buying a couple of the big bags from the candy aisle. But either way, I like having a mix of things, so it worked out in my favor. So for the Oreos, chocolate-covered pretzels, and Kit Kats, I need to smash all of them first before I plan on putting them onto my apple. So I just grabbed a paper towel, folded it in half, and opened it up. Put the Oreos or whichever food item in there. And I took actually a meat beater. I don't know if that's the actual name of this tool, but you'll see it here in a second. And I took the meat beater and just kind of smashed it around on top of the Oreos and the pretzels and the Kit Kats until they were ground into smaller pieces. And if you have a few pieces that are still pretty big, don't worry too much about it because that just adds a little bit of dimension to your apple, and it'll be a nice little bite from whoever's eating it to get a bigger piece of that type of food. After your apples are covered, let them cool and harden in the refrigerator for an hour. And there you go. They are all ready to serve. And let me tell you, this was a hit with my friends. So now you are surrounded with tons of yummy, yummy, yummy caramel apples with all of your favorite candies and snacks all up on there. One I didn't do that I actually thought would have been really cool was to do popcorn. Like if you just get plain popcorn, not buttered or anything, plain popcorn, and then rolled it around in it, that would be so cool because it kind of reminds you of like the caramel covered popcorn that you get around Christmas time, or like the Boy Scouts sell it. And that's another cool idea. I mean, honestly, this is such a diverse like food choice that you can do with it. There's so many things that you can roll it around in. I mean, not everything's gonna pair with the caramel, and that's okay. But maybe you'll like that stuff. Maybe you're really into that, and that's totally okay. It's your taste bud. Well, I hope you enjoy your caramel apples, and if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Hope to see you again back soon. That was so, I didn't know where I was going with that.